Welcome to another tutorial from Handmade by Christine. This time we're going to look at a mixture of shaker and eclipse cards and see how we can combine these two lovely techniques. Okay, so to make these three cards you're going to need three white DL style cards. So they're 21 by 21 centimetres scored in half to make this sort of card, and corresponding envelopes. Then you will need three pieces in two different colours, so two of one colour and one of another, of 20 by 10 centimetres. You'll need about 6 pieces of white card, 19.5 by 8.5 centimetres. Now, if you cut your cards, your DL cards yourself, you'll have some scraps that you can use for some of those pieces, but you'll need to make extra as well. And you also need some scraps of white card for stamping on, and some scraps of the coloured card so you can make your happy birthdays, 2 pieces of acetate, which are a scant 20 by 10 centimetres, and a little scrap to use later. You need some ink to go with the colours you've chosen. You need some little stamps to decorate, and I chose stamps that I've got punches to match, which makes life a bit easier. Some sequins, some sugar. If you remember, I coloured some sugar with re-inker last time. I'm going to use that, and possibly some plain white sugar as well. Dies to say your chosen greeting. I chose happy. Now, it's really convenient to have 2 sets of dies if you're using an alphabet, because there are an awful lot of words that have doubled up letters, such as happy or merry or mum or baby, and you can manage with 1 set, but it makes life an awful lot easier if you have 2 sets. I've also got a little happy birthday die. This one comes with a background to it, and of course I need a big shot. Okay, the first stage is to space out your chosen word, and I used some grid paper to make sure that I was getting the words straight, and then I've stuck it together with some sellotape. Just normal Scotch tape will be fine, and I've placed it on a pile of cards. I find about cutting about 2 or 3 at once is the limit to do it properly on the big shot. So obviously I'm going to need to do that 2 or 3 times. So let's go. So each time I cut out, I'm leaving my dies on this white piece so that there's only one piece that's going to have be damaged by the tape. For the last layer, I'm just going to place it like that so that the happy is central on my background. Okay, so that's the last one cut out. And I must make sure to save the inner bits from any letters that have them, like the A and the 2-letter P's, because we'll need those later. Now, the dies will be well and truly stuck onto the white card. If it's too damaged, then don't use this extra piece, but if you can use it, you might as well. Okay, so I've got a whole pile of HAPPYs in white and in my coloured card, and I've kept the little bits from the inside. And I've got a pile of outlines in white and in the coloured card. So now I'm going to use my little birthday dies, and I'm going to cut out 3 of the script birthdays, and then loads of the shadow birthdays. I'm going to make layers of about 3 high, so that means I'll need 9 shadow birthdays. Okay, so I've got my little birthdays all cut out and piled up, ready to go. Now comes the messy part. I'm going to start sticking. Now there are a couple of special things to note. So on this one, which is the traditional style of Eclipse with the letters all piled up so that you get a nice 3D effect, I've put a little shaker bit in the centre of this letter P. So to do that, I use my scrap of acetate. So on the bottom P, I just put stick a scrap of acetate underneath it. And again, I'm using liquid glue for this stage. I'm just placing it on, and when it's dried, I'll be able to trim that. And I'm going to do the same with one of the coloured letter P's. So those can be drying, ready to be stuck in a few minutes. Then on the bottom layer of my white happies, I'm going to stick some acetate underneath. And I'm going around the edges of the letters and around the edge of the card, because I want this to stick really well so we don't get any escaping bits once we add the sequins and sugar and the like. So let's stick that on. And put that to one side. And then the same with what's going to end up as the top piece. Now for these in-between bits, you're going to have to clear some space for the shakers to work. So the way I did that was on each of them, I just snipped off all the bits that actually define the letters. It's not so important at the top. I left a little bit at the top because that will make it all stick up right properly, but just left myself like that for all the intervening layers. Before I lose them, I'm going to stick these inner bits in, and I'm just using one of the white letters to make sure that I get it in the right place. So they're perfectly positioned now, and I can leave that to dry while I stick these bits together. Now I'm going to take the one that's got the acetate beneath it and stick my pile of outlines on top of that. And then once that's stuck, it needs to dry really well so that none of the shaker elements are going to get all gluey. Put them together there and put it to one side. Now I'm going to come to the Eclipse side of the cards, and I've got my happies. Now I'm going to make a pile of 2 of each for my final card, so I'll put those to one side because they're going to need stamping on when we come to do some stamping. Whoops, P, another P, and 2 Y's. Now, so put those to one side, and then we've got these to stick together. Now you notice on this card that I've got a white one on top, and I've positioned it in such a way that you can see a little bit of the coloured card underneath. So, and I quite like that effect. It just, I think it adds to things. So I'm going to do the same again. So I'll make a pile of 3 happies with 1 purple on, and leave, sorry, 3 H's with 1 purple on, and leave the last H until I come to do the stamping. And then for the other sets, they're all going to be topped with the purple. And again, like in my last video, I've got myself a little flannel or wet kitchen roll, because you do get very sticky doing this sort of thing. Okay, so the peas are now stuck on the acetate, so I'm just going to cut carefully around. So I won't stick the top one on yet, I'll just cut it while I'm cutting. Put that to one side so I don't get carried away and stick it on anyway. So the one with the acetate's going on the bottom, and then the other 2 on top. So there I've got my HA, a partially completed P with some acetate on, another P and a Y. And now I'm going to do a similar thing with the birthdays. Okay, so I've got clean non-gluey paper, and I've got my HAPPY, my extra H, and some scrap card to do stamping on. Okay, so let's punch these out. Okay, now I'm back on my gluey bit of paper, and let's just stick that one to that, and I'm just going to offset it a little bit. Let's use this glue, just so that you can see the purple poking out from behind. I think it looks really effective. Do you see what I've done? I've got just a little shadow of purple there. Now these other ones I'm going to stick properly. So these stamped letters have just got a bit of dimension because there's the extra layer behind them. Okay, now we can leave all those to dry and then start playing with the sequins and other shaker bits. Okay, so starting with the letter P, now obviously there's not a lot of space there, and some sequins it would just be too big. So I'm just going to use the sugar, and I'm going to use a mixture of the coloured and the plain. And you don't want to fill it too full, because otherwise they haven't got room to shake. Let's just do it like that. And then you need to be very careful with putting the glue on the top layer, which has got the acetate beneath it, because you don't want any glue squidging out onto the sugar, because then it will be sticky forevermore. Then coming to the main shaker card, we've got this pile of outlines here with acetate underneath, and the purple with the acetate beneath and the bits of the letters on. So I can start filling these bits, and actually what I should have done was to remove the bottom layer bits as well, so I'm just going to snip those away now. So now I've got a nice big area for my sequins. Now if your sequins or jewels or whatever you're using are very deep, then you might need more than 6 layers of card. But with these ones I should be okay. So let's just add a bit of sugar. You've got to be really careful not to get glue where you don't want it. So I've found that the best way is to glue the bottom layer. Although in most cases I tend to glue whatever's going on top and stick down. In this case I think you're better off gluing the bottom layer. And then I can position my top layer very, very carefully, and I don't want to be moving it around more than I can help, because again that could make the glue slip down onto the shaker element. So I'm going to try and get it nicely in place. Press it down gently and then put it to one side until it's fully dry. Okay, so I've got some of my second colour stuck onto the front of my cards, and I'm just going to stick the letters on and then do a bit of decoration. Now with my shaker bits, because it's heavier, I'm going to stick it on with double-sided tape. So there we are. So they look nice as they are, but it's fun to add a bit of dimension to them, and that's where these punched out butterflies and flowers come in. Stick these. You could use sticky fixers to stick. You can also just bend the butterfly wings a bit so that they will sit up, although obviously they'll get squashed if you're going to put it in an envelope. So don't forget to be proud of your work. Handmade by Christine on all of them. And there we are, 3 cards. One shaker, but done with this new technique of sticking the layers together rather than trying to get to grips with sticky foam tape. An Eclipse card with an additional shaker bit to it, and a sort of micro Eclipse card in that it's only got a couple of layers, but it's a bonus card from doing the others. So I do hope you'll have a go at this technique. It's great fun to do. I used Happy Birthday and butterflies and flowers, but you could use Merry and have Christmas and some Christmassy decorations. You could have Welcome Baby with appropriate stamps. The possibilities are endless, but enjoy experimenting, and I would love to see some of your creations. So do let me know how you get on.